Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Character Switch with Adit. Um, Today we're a different person, also trimmed. Um, Last time I put this camera in front of my face, I had a hard time trying to record a video, but we're back and we're here to finish off the Deeper Look series. Not by Omar Suleiman, but shout out to him. It's a very insightful series by him. You should go watch that. But no, this is my version with my glasses and my wave cap. Um, so, and yeah, they're fake. Anyways, what's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't, and why? Um, there's a few things that I've always wanted to do and haven't done it, and mostly because fear is holding me back. Um, yeah, or yeah, it's fear in a general sense. What are the top three personal goals you have right now? Working out, continue to grow and heal, and the YouTube thing. These are the three right now top personal goals. How do you handle failure, and what have you learned from it? Um, I have a bittersweet relationship with failure. Um, Failure allows for success. Um, and success wouldn't be so sweet without failure. So I also don't see anything as a failure. Um, I didn't fail anything. I just learned from it. Experiences, relationships, courses, projects, programs, whatever it may be. What scares you the most about stepping out of your comfort zone? Fear. But oh no, not what stops you. What scares you the most? Um, Truthfully being judged. If I'm being honest with myself. What are some beliefs you hold, or rejection, like being rejected? What are some beliefs you hold that might be holding you back? My compassion. How compassionate and merciful I try and be, uh, especially towards people who don't deserve it. What's something that you changed your mind about in the last year? A lot. Um, the military. Joining the military. Uh, College. Joining college. Loving a certain somebody. Loving certain people. How do you typically react to challenges or obstacles? Um, Head on, and I'm pretty excited about them. Hard, but I like to take my time and try to thoroughly plan out a method of attack and then act on that. So yeah, it's cause and effect, plan and action, and cause and reaction. I don't know what the third one was, but it was something in reaction. Um, what's one area of your life you'd like to improve the most? Emotionally. When do you feel the most authentic version of yourself? Shit. Um, Around people that don't know me. What does your personal growth mean to you, the world? Are there any habits or behaviors you'd like to change? If there are, then I'm working on them. What's the most important thing about self? What's the most important thing self growth has taught you so far? Um, this shit ain't easy, and no one's gonna do it other than you. So you gotta do it on your own. Ooh, and distractions. Distractions hurt. Um, what's one thing you can do today to promote your personal growth? This video, these questions in particular, working out, putting down the phone, trying to stay away from social media, prayer, concentrated prayer at that. How do you handle change, especially when it's unexpected? Luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. So let's try and engineer that into change. So you'll find yourself very lucky with unexpected change had you been prepared, and you'll find yourself very unlucky with unexpected change had you been unprepared. Change is opportunity, and what you do with change or opportunity is completely uh, up to oneself. Who or what motivates you to grow? Instantly, I think about the Quran, like the Word of God. Um, I think about myself, but a, a small part of my brain shouted out to myself, I have something to prove. So everyone who's ever doubted me, I have something to prove to the people who do believe in me. I have something to prove to my parents. I have something to prove to the world. Uh, Also, lack of acceptance of failure. I will not accept uh, true failure. True failure is when you give up and you no longer try. Um, Question 16 here. What's something you've let go of that has positively impacted your life? Sins, and um, we are not encouraged to talk about our sins. I want to name a few examples, but I will not. We will just say sins. Um, and desires as well. Sometimes you have desires that aren't really sinful. Um, how do you deal with self doubt or fear? Um, how do I deal with fear? By a few things. I used to deal with fear by just doing it very head on, very suicidally, actually, funny enough. Um, if there was something I feared, then I would run towards it. Um, but my fears now are more, or they seem more intricate. They're not. They're the same. Fears are a fear no matter what. They seem more important to me now because they're in my present. So I've been trying to upgrade myself to a point where I feel like I'm capable of taking on those fears, or those fears are overshadowed and no longer matter due to what I've done or who I've become or etc. Mm, how do you measure your growth or progress? That's a good one. Relations. Um, what skills do you want to learn or improve? Well, let me open up a document real quick. There's actual skills that I do want, um, but I think they mean maybe in a more general sense. But let's talk about mm, necessary life skills. Okay, so for survival skills, general wilderness survival, how to start a fire, bow and arrow skills, how to make a bow and arrow from nothing, and then hunting using a bow and arrow, swimming skills, how to save someone from drowning, as well as proficiently swim in the ocean or against tides and currents. Um, horseback riding, breaking a horse and then galloping on a horse as well. First aid, CPR, combat, how to use a sword, uh, martial arts, some sort of martial arts, and how to fully use a gun. Um, says here, not looking for mastery per se, but sufficient enough for emergency use. They can all be improved upon through constant use. And I agree. Yeah, those are skills that I think are necessary that I want to um, learn or improve upon. Like, I know how to use a gun, but my aim is off, right? So we need to improve on that. Um, like, I know how to ride a horse, but I can't gallop on a horse. I know how to swim, but I don't know how to maybe uh, swim against the current in a river or something like that. So I don't know how to save someone from drowning. Um, like that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by improve upon. But there's a bunch of skills here that I haven't included, like interpersonal skills or developmental skills, like in relations or stuff like that. But that was a little sample. Question 20. How do you balance self improvement with self acceptance? Um, who did I hear this from? Who did I hear this from? I don't know. But essentially, it went something along the lines of you know when you're being um, too hard on yourself, and you know when you're being too lax. When you're being lax, it's time to reel it in and uh, basically tell yourself to behave. And if you're trying, then like you're trying and you're reeled in, then it's time to turn that talk into positivity instead of asking yourself why didn't you or you need to do better or etc. Not negatively talking to yourself. Um, Self improvement and self acceptance are uh, equal. I think I accept who I am now. I am proud of how far I've come, and I want to improve more. I still want more for myself. And those two things are okay and they help each other at the end of the day. Um, I will not undermine my own achievements. Um, but that being said, I'm not at the point I want to be at. Or I guess that's what you could call it. What's the most valuable piece of advice you've ever received? It's a good question. Mm. have to come back to that one. I know who it was from. Are you truly content with your life? And if not, what would you change? Content. Content. In a state of peaceful happiness, satisfy, or a state of satisfaction. Yes and no. I would say more no, though. I am satisfied with I'm satisfied with my progress and my continuation of growing. I'm satisfied that I'm working towards something. But if you're working towards something, then you're not truly satisfied with what you have. Um, I wouldn't change anything. Um, this is part of the progress. This was necessary to become who I am and who I will be. So, yeah. How are you making a positive impact on the world or other people's lives? Um, it's a good question. I want to answer by simply existing and vibrating at the frequency that I'm at, by being me, I'm positively impacting those around me. But truthfully, even though that is true, but truthfully, I'm unsatisfied with that impact. It's so minor. I'd say my biggest impact right now is the fact that oh my God, the fact that I'm focusing on on myself, and I'm focusing on success, uh, and wealth and power and influence, so that when I do reach that state, I can have an actual um, impact on people. Like my biggest and best impact now is only through words and support and uh, actions that aren't really, maybe I'm undermining my own achievements here. My best impact right now is what I would say would be my baseline attitude when I'm at the point of success that I want to reach. Um, for example, compassion, being compassionate, trying to be merciful and forgiving, and lending a ear to people and trying to actually listen, or maybe even producing these videos or whatever the case may be. Those things are the most I can do as of right now. But if I was rich, I offered you a job that changes your entire life, like completely differently. I'm about my mama a crib, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, what have I been taking for granted in my life? A lot. So much, actually. Um, but for starters, myself. Well, those were 24 of those questions, and here are segments off to another section. We're gonna answer these two. Oh wait, let's answer the best advice I was ever given. Um, the best advice I was ever given. I'll name the top three. Um, and some of these are pretty cliche. Listen more and talk less. Um, hold on to the dean and be yourself. They are literally, I guess, all cliche. Um, but the most cliche sayings are truly the ones that are the most important. But because they're so oversaturated, people tend to lose. It tends to lose its meaning. But if you really pay attention to it, it's mind blowing. It's really important. Okay, let's move on to the questions. What's the most valuable lesson a past relationship has taught you? Wow. Okay, buddy. Fuck. My last relationship has taught me to communicate very clearly, um, and put communication above keeping the peace. In this last relationship, I tried really hard just to keep the peace, um, or be unbothered by things, which I thought was being stoic. Um, and it came back and bit me in the ass. Um, yeah, communication above um, keeping the peace, which is the most valuable. I learn valuable lessons from every single relationship. Every single relationship I've ever been in has made me a better person, um, and it always takes me getting hurt and hurting the person I'm with for that growth to happen. And that is also my biggest regret in life, hurting people, even though sometimes it's unavoidable. What do you value most in your relationships? Sincerity. How do you handle conflicts in your relationships? There is no ideal way that you can handle anything, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with another person, another individual who in their own mind is complex and has their own way of dealing with these things. I guess truly what I value the most in relationships would be compatibility. That is the most important thing to look for, compatibility. Um, there's lust, there's infatuation, there's love, but compatibility above all. Um, just depends on who you're dealing with for the conflict. What qualities are
Quality. I swear I know how to speak. It was a mistake. Quality. Quality.
most important to you in a friend? Growth, separate growth, but that when we reconnect or reunite, that spark is still there. Um, yeah, I have to feel like you're a real person. How do you express love, and how do you like it, and how do you like to receive it? I I try and cater my love depending on how that person's love language. Um, how do I like to receive love? I will take it in all of its forms. I am pretty sentimental. I want to see just the effort, um, and I'm usually satisfied with that. It can be hard though sometimes. Um, if I have a desire to feel loved in a certain manner, then it is up to me to communicate that. Even in a stable relationship, if I want to feel, because we don't only want one type of love, right? Like, we don't only want words of affirmation all the time. We don't only want quality time all the time. We don't only want uh, gift giving or actions or whatever it may be all the time. We want to mix. So it's up to you to communicate that when you feel that. What's one thing you would change about your relationship with your best friend? Uh, when I think of my best friend, I think about a lot of people. I don't think about one person. I think about anyone I would consider a friend, and I at the same time I don't consider anybody a friend. Um, that's something you'll have to read the premarital questions for. But in one of them, I would change um, our separation or the distance. Uh, like if we could just be face to face. Another one I would change the fact that we were in a relationship. It's a few of them actually. Another one I would change one of my own past mistakes. You could go on with this list about what you would change, um, but it's endless. It's a black hole. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, nothing will be the answer. Um, how do you maintain boundaries in your relationships? I'm really bad with this in like like a spouse relationship, but fairly decent with it in like just relations with people. Um, I have to learn to communicate boundaries clearly without thinking that I'm being rude. Um, yeah, I often feel rude when I communicate my boundaries. I want that to change. Uh, you know what it is with relations? Like with in my relationships, I will have those boundaries and like they're expressed pretty clearly, or at least I try to. And when those boundaries are crossed, that's what I fail with right there. Like, or maybe you crossed a boundary you didn't know was a boundary, so then I make sure to communicate it was a boundary. But afterwards, like, I don't know how to deal with, like, what is the appropriate course of action after your spouse has already crossed your boundary, like after you've already communicated, like I I didn't want this shit to happen, like why are you doing that? And I would say like to leave, right? But I that doesn't sound like the right answer to me. Do you feel you can truly be yourself in relationships? Why or why not? I'm truly myself in every relationship, but it is a different me. You can never truly be yourself around that anyone, period. But you can be yourself to the best of your ability, and because it's all subjective, right? It's all about how they view you. That's a lame question. Um, what role do your friendships play in your life? Uh, Sadly, a non-significant one. I need to be better with um, identifying friendships, valuing friendships. Um, I don't know. They do play they, my friendships my friendships mold me into who I am. My friendships are home. My friendships are ambiguous. How do you handle the end of a relationship? Depends on how that relationship ended. But I oftentimes try and make sure that there isn't something I'm going to regret later on if I am ending a relationship. Um, what's the most challenging part of your current relationships? Um, One, generally, flashbacks, negative thoughts or emotions associated with that person. Mm, communication, like staying in touch. Um, yeah, acceptance of who they are. How has your relationships with your parents shaped your adulthood? Am I even in my adulthood? I don't know. It's been interesting, but I don't wanna. I don't wanna answer that question. Fuck it. We'll answer the question. It's a deeper look series. My relationship with my parents is not anything special. It's not anything. I have a very hard time connecting with anybody. Um, so when I do connect with people, um, like I either get attached or self sabotage the relationship. Uh, Possibly. I don't know. Do you think relationships are healthy? If not, what can you do to improve them? Yeah, they are. Um, Pretty good with not keeping uh, toxic relationships. Um, and they're healthy, but they're not perfect. Um, do I self sabotage? I self sabotage in ways you wouldn't expect. Um, I no, I take that back. I do not self sabotage. How have your past influenced your current one? In every single way. You are a culmination of your experiences. Every relationship that you've ever been in, or anyone you've ever interacted with, carries on to um, your meeting with other people. We are trained to recognize patterns, and we can see patterns in people, and that's where the like the term red flags comes from, right? Um, what's something you need to forgive someone for? The feeling of betrayal. I feel like you betrayed me. Um, it haunts me in my dreams uh, because uh, I need to forgive myself. More importantly, are there any unresolved issues in any of your relationships? Um, yeah. Mm, well, the issues have gone resolved. The issues are resolved, but the feelings associated with the issue are still there. So they're unresolved internally, but in the relationship is fine. Which is another reason I have a problem with um, like identifying friendships or relations And this is also why I say I self sabotage, because it's not that I am sabotaging the relationship. It's not that the relationship has become unhealthy because of uh, my actions. Although sometimes my actions may cause um, like a like an issue within the relationship, but those can get resolved. But what I mean by self sabotage is that the feelings inside of me are boiling and stirring, and they're causing me to distance myself or think negatively about a person, which in reality I shouldn't be thinking negatively about, because there's nothing in between us that should be negative. That's what I'm glad this answer this question showed up. What is one way in which you can become a better friend, partner, or family member? Um, Reaching out more, um, communicating better, um, become more patient. How important is communication in your relationships? Bruh, literally the most fucking important factor, and the factor that's always the hardest, because you can't communicate so clearly with people. It's why you need compatibility. Compatibility. The more compatible you are, the easier communication is. And sometimes that communication isn't verbal per se, but you need to be compatible. That's what hurts the most about relationships, when you're not compatible with someone. Like, you love them so much, you're not compatible with them. Are there any toxic relationships in your life? If so, what steps can you take to address them? No, there's no toxic relationships in my life. Alhamdulillah. What does a successful relationship look like to you? I would like someone who is as free as I am. I want someone who's as free as I am. What does a successful relationship look like to me? Pretty important question. I can imagine it clearly in my head. I I have the image. I it's it's different parts of every relationship that I've ever been in. Um, but the in-person part, the in-person like relationship is that's one person. The like yeah, the in-person relationship is one person. Um, and that was a successful relationship if there wasn't distance between us. How do you handle jealousy or insecurity in relationships? Um, I get jealous of the wrong people. Um, like you're supposed to have a protective jealousy over like your spouse, which I have, right? But it's aimed at the wrong people. It's like for example, in one relationship, her cousin, older cousin, um, and that one threw me off. I was like, what the fuck? Another one was her sister's husband, their relationship. I was like, that threw me off as well. Uh, it's aimed at the wrong people. How do you support your loved ones through tough times? I don't know. I do the best I can. How do you balance giving and taking in your relationships? I give so fucking much because I want so fucking much. Not even. No. I only want one thing, right? I only want like one thing truly. But that thing is so hard for them to give. Like they they can't, they don't want to, they're unable, I don't know what it is, but they won't or cannot provide me with what I'm looking for. I give so much because that one thing is so valuable to me. When I see that I'm not getting that one thing, that it's such a simple, small, lovely thing, I I I can stop giving. Fucking it's booty. Um, I'll give you the world, truly. Mm, I don't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can, like I love to give. I find satisfaction and gratification in giving. But with all that I am giving, is it selfish to want that one thing? When whatever. How have your relationships changed as you've grown and matured? Um, They're more direct. Uh, there's no more fluff, bro. Like, I don't want the bullshit. What does trust mean to you in a relationship, and how do you build that? What's up with all these questions? Nah. Um, how many friends of mine can I honestly say I trust with my life? Like, in what sense? Like, I give you a button, say here, like, don't press it, because I will die. Or in a situation where it's like, I need you to do this for me. Like, so I have a problem with identifying friendships. By setting a good example for others around me. Yeah. Okay. Well, we reached question 27, part like 4 or whatever. That was um, a deeper look series, part 2. Um, I am deeply bothered by the. Hold up. I'm deeply bothered by my, I guess, flashbacks or remembrance of certain situations from these questions. I want, it makes me realize that there's still so much I want to improve on. There's still so much that I'm looking for, um, and plenty of mistakes that I've made uh, in the past. Plenty of judgment calls that I made the wrong judgment on. But it's interesting to self reflect. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Uh, as always, I love you. Be safe. Try and take care of yourself.